Howdy folks, RagingRaptor here and welcome to a new in-depth preview video. Today it is the time to look at the tank Wargaming teased on during their end of the year Q&A stream. The Skoda T45, the first Czechoslovakian heavy tank. Let's just jump right in and have a look at its gun. It is a 220 alpha gun with AP rounds which have 158mm of penetration, a heat round with 250mm penetration, and a normal HE round with 270 alpha and 44mm of penetration. The shell velocities are 995 for the AP round, 600 for the heat as well as for the HE, and with a 9-second reload time, we have a base DPM of 1466. Wow! Wowie! Now that is a juicy one, because you know what? The AMX M4, which is known to be not that good at DPM, has 1670. The 45 TP, 1745 with 320 alpha. And the Tiger 1, obviously a little bit unfair, he is known to be a DPM monster, has 2153. But, still, 1460 DPM. That is ridiculous. It is very, very bad. 9 seconds reload time for a 220 alpha is absurd, if you ask me. To put that into even better perspective, the IS with a 390 alpha gun has almost 2000 DPM. To be precise, 1900. So even if he misses a shot, he has a still better DPM than our Skoda T45. The Tiger 131 or the heavy tank number 6, whatever you want to call it, which are tier 6 heavy tanks with a 220 alpha gun, have 1880 DPM. It is this piss poor. Well then, let's hope that the accuracy values are really where the Skoda T45 is shining at. Well, 0.4 accuracy is the worst with the 45 TP with the Polish heavy tank. 2.9 seconds aim time, well, that is almost half a second longer than what the Tiger 1 as well as the AMX M4 has. Accuracy values on the move are carbon copies of the Tiger 1. Just again, Tiger 1 is more accurate by a long shot, and it has almost a half a second faster aim time. So nope, boys and girls, it is not better in accuracy values. 70 degrees of gun depression? No, this is also not really something unique or good. It's the same as the Tiger. It's actually the worst value out of the three right here. Gun elevation, 15 degrees. Yeah, that is something, I'd say. 46 pieces of ammunition. Yeah, you're not even getting close of using all of those in a game. Let's be honest. I'm fairly confident you can shoot the whole time through the whole game and you will not run out of shells because your DPM is this bad. Maybe it's the mobility. 30 kph top speed and 14 kph reverse. That sounds nice. 14 HP per ton ratio doesn't sound too bad either. Problem is, all the other heavy tanks which we have right here, they have better top speed by 5 or even by 10 kph. The reverse speed is nice with 14. It's the best with the 45 TP. It's obviously faster than the Tigers and the AMX M4s. However, the HP per ton ratio isn't that good either. Look, AMX M4 is quicker to accelerate and has a better top speed. 45 TP is quicker to accelerate by even more and has a better top speed. The Tiger 1 is worse in that regard, but again, he has a much better top speed, which he can reach going on a flat surface. So that is also not that good. Hull traverse 25 degrees per second. Yeah, it is in the lower margin, but it's not that bad. Turret reverse with 24 degrees per second. Worst of the bunch except for the Tiger 1, which is a little bit faster. And the rain resistance values, they are like your average. It's very good when it comes to hard surfaces, 1, which is very nice. Then it's 1.5 and 2.5, which is comparable to what the MX M4 has. And yes, the Tiger 1 is very atrocious when he would be driving in the valley of Lakewell, because there, yeah boys, it is absurd how bad the rain resistance values are. Because again, the smaller, the better. So let's move on to survivability, because here it looks like the Skoda T45 has his ace up its sleeve. 1500 hit points. That is the same amount what the Tiger 1 has, and it is the highest amount of any tier 7 heavy tanks in the game, which is pretty confident if you would ask me. However, the armor, I don't know. Like, the armor is very, 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 very hard to say just from the stats sheet. It says 110 on the front, 70 on the side, and 40 on the rear of the hull, and 160 in the front, 70 on the side, and 50 on the rear of the turret. We can try to, approximate roughly how it could look like. So, if, for example, the upper hull plate is homogeneous, 110 millimeters, that sounds pretty okay, I would say, The angle isn't that good, so we are still maybe just looking at 160 to 180 millimeters of effective armor with a very big lower plate. In general, I feel like this tank is huge. Like, I don't know if it's just a picture or what the Wargaming already shown, but they portrayed this tank to be big, like B-I-G big. But yeah, the side armor, 70 millimeters, it's slanted slightly upwards, so it gives a little bit the Panther feeling of maybe being able to bounce more. Depending is also how thick is the armor below this spot, like above the tracks, because this is a big weak spot for some tanks, like the Tiger II, like the Jag Tiger, and so on. Also, will be interesting to see how thick is this part right here, and how is this really 160 millimeters thick, because that might be not too bad with it being slanted fairly nicely. The question is also how big is the cupola. It looks fairly big, and it also looks probably fairly weak. It does have apparently, or at least this is what it's supposed to be, I think, night vision devices. Obviously we don't need that in World of Tanks, but yeah. I don't know, the armor, it really depends how thick the effective armor is and how the lower plate is. Because at the moment, I have to say, I don't really see anything this tank shines at. So it might just be like the Charlemagne, where the armor is where it shines at. Fuel range wise, it's not bad. 370, that is a good value. It's not as good as the Tiger I, but it's a very good value for a Tier VII Heavy Tank, and signal range no one cares about. Let's conclude this vehicle. And as already mentioned, I simply cannot find anything where I have to say on the stats card, yo, that is something impressive, that is something I'm looking forward to. Sure, 1,500 hit points is nice, but if you even need a minute to kill yourself, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I don't mind 220 alpha, I really don't mind. And the pen values are okay-ish. The problem is they are not that good anymore for 2020, especially on Tier 7. Like, you have a lot better and more competent and potent guns on that tier. Tiger I has 203. Yes, IAS has 175, which is not that good, but you have 320 alpha and the ability to overmatch a lot of situations or a lot of positions. Yes, 250 heat pen, that is nice, but it kind of feels like you are forced to shoot heat, because your stock round is this bad. It really also depends how strong, or rather how what's it called, how the drop-off will be, because that's obviously the biggest issue the GSO 1008 has. He loses almost 100 millimeters over 500 meter distance on its APCR rounds. But in general, this tank, like I said during the Carro d'Assalto P50, what's it, Nonante or Otto Onante tank, that I'm not impressed. Maybe the armor is good, 100 millimeter, very, very, very angled upper front plate, 220 millimeters of turret armor, which is also slightly angled with no weak spot really. 80 degrees of gun depression, yeah. But I said back then that the DPM is garbage with 240, Mobility was okay, but I wasn't blown away by the Assalto, and I wasn't really, very happy about seeing this tank, because it looks boring as hell and not very competitive. And now we literally have a tank which is even worse stats wise. The only thing where the Skoda is better is the hit points by a lot, and the view range, and a little bit accuracy. But it gets nullified by the piss poor aim time, which is almost half a second longer. So yeah, I genuinely do not know what to think about the Skoda T45. Like, sure, characteristics are not final. We all know that. But that thing looks bad right now. Like, I don't really see what's the point of playing this tank except for preparing a crew. And this is also like a bigger thing again. The crew 2.0 is around the corner. It looks fairly interesting. I heard a big divide. Some people say just one commander looks garbage. It looks like it might be pay to win because of the special crews, etc., like the instructors. I heard people say it is way too much to grind out 75 levels, etc., etc., etc. However, I do want to point out it still does look like a decent system, and Wargaming it will be very, very defining for the future of the game if it comes over well or not. I simply don't know. I simply don't know what Wargaming is planning to do at the moment, like with the Skoda T45 at least, because there needs to be done something. Like, it really depends how good the armor is. If the armor is good, I'd say okay, I guess it is like the Charlemagne, where you have armor balancing the tank's gun. It will be like the Lorraine 50T, where it has amazing armor but piss poor DPM for a tier 9 heavy tank. But right now, it's hard to judge, really. It's hard to judge because we don't know. We do not know how the armor is going to look. And I have to say, I'm yawning right now. The heavy line might be interesting because it's an autoloader heavy, and might be interesting because they might have good armor. Because so far we don't really have an autoloader tree with very good armor, you know. We have, for example, maybe the Guardia Combattimento 45, which is coming as a CV reward, which has decent armor, which is a medium, with an auto reloader, not an autoloader. We have the Kranwagen, which is a fan favorite from a lot of people, which is fairly strong if you know what you're doing. It has armor, on the turret at least, but not on the hull. So what is going to be the role of the Skoda? Because the T57 is a support vehicle, period. The AMX-50B is a lightning quick heavy with the ability to have a big autoloader, you know. So it's not really heavy. So we'll see how the Skoda tree or the Czechoslovakian heavy tank tree is going to turn out. I'm still very interested to see how it's going to be, but right now the tier 7, I'm yawning. We'll see. Characteristics on the final Wargaming might change them. So yeah, that is everything I'm having for you today. Don't forget to let me know what I can do better. This video I edited myself because my friend didn't have time for that because he went to bed already. While I had to do this video. We had very short notice for that video, by the way, which is a bit annoying. So don't forget to subscribe still if you want to be always up to date with everything World of Tanks related. Video about the Q&A will come soon, where I try to break it down. It was a 2-hour long video, or 2-hour long Q&A, which I watched through all. And I tried to condense it a little bit while giving you also my personal opinion on the different things. Biggest hype for the HE rework and the artillery rework, that there are things which are... Thank you so much for watching, cheers, and good luck on the battlefield.